looky what I got. Got brand new Vampire Accounts book. So I've had a chance to read through most of the book. Not so much the fluff part. I haven't read any of that yet. But I've read all the rules and stuff. So let's go kind of like a brief mini review of the new Vampire Accounts based on my relatively limited experience with them. First, let's talk about the biggest change. Of course, is that they they lost the necromancy thing, where they get to cast the spells over and over again. It's just normal magic, just like what happened to the Tomb Kings. So this is kind of some very nice full color. This is all the fluff here. Some nice little breakout boxes. Nice artwork. So, pretty much most of the rules are the same. They're still unstable, so they still fall apart. There's a Vampiric rule, which is a combination of marching and not suffering wounds when the general is destroyed. So the big nasty flying monsters infantry are Vampiric, so they don't have to worry about dying should the general die. So got a bunch of new units here. Most of it is not changed. The Vampire Lord gained in a couple stats. There's a new Master Necromancer, which is a hero level Necromancer. The White King's unchanged. The Karn Wraith has a special attack. The Banshee's pretty much unchanged. And the new Striguli Ghoul King, which is of course a ghoul character, Ghoul Lord. So he's not a bad combat guy with regeneration and hatred and poison. So he's got a lot of rules going for him. The decent weapon skill. Oh, and initiative 8. That's right. The Ghoul King is initiative 8, which for me on a vampire is that's going first, and then some. Crypt Ghouls are unchanged. Zombies added a strength and a toughness, and actually went down in price for gaining the stats, so they're not as bad as they were. Skeleton Warriors have gone down in price, but are otherwise the same. Let's see what else we got here. Dire Wolves have unchanged, except they got a charge bonus. They get +1 to their strength on the charge, so they're not as useless as they used to be. Bat Swarms are kind of cool because now they've added a new rule where anything in base contact with a Bat Swarm gets always strikes last. So they could be used, a nice disruption unit to add into a combat. Graveguards unchanged, Black Knights are unchanged. Corpse Carts are no longer monsters, they've been just changed to a regular chariot. They still have random attacks and regeneration. And it still has a bounce spell of. Oh, it's not a bounce spell anymore. So if you target the corpse cart with a spell, and then all units within 6 inches of the corpse cart get always strikes first. So it's pretty a contrived way to get it instead of just using it as a bounce spell. So you actually have to cast a spell on it successfully. On the corpse cart to get that effect. Spirit hosts are down to 1 base minimum, which is kind of nice, and they've dropped in price quite a bit. These are the new bad boys, the Crypt Horrors and the Vargheists. These are the monsters infantry, and the flying ones are the Vampiric. The regular ones are not. The regular ones have poison and regeneration, so they're like mini Ghoul Kings. And the Vargheists should be a lot of fun. Flying Frenzy Undead Vampiric. Monsters infantry with weapon skill 4, strength 5, toughness 4, wounds 3, initiative 4, and 3 attacks. Wow. And the other ones are strength 4, toughness 5, so these kind of swap those stats. Vargoths pretty much haven't changed. Blood Knights have dropped a little bit in price. Otherwise, they're unchanged. The Black Coach has changed a little bit. Instead of rolling randomly for power, it's just a cumulative effect. So you start with the first one does this, second one does this, and on and on and on. And so you don't have to worry about random and stuff like that. X-Rays are probably the one that's caused the most pain and suffering, and they are actually really good. They're of course ethereal, fast cavalry, so they can vanguard, and of course they have the spectral hunters rule. If a unit of Hexwraiths moves through one or more unengaged enemy units in the remaining move subphase, nominate one of those units. That unit immediately suffers a strength 5 hit per Hexwraith that has passed through it, distributed as shooting attacks. These hits are magical, have flaming attack special rule, and no armor saves are allowed. So that's a huge benefit. So yeah, it's nice. Soul Reaper's attacks made by Hexwraiths and Hellwraiths are magical, flaming, and allow no armor saves. That's just their normal close combat attacks allow no armor saves, and they're ethereal. Hexwraiths, and they're not that expensive. I mean, they're kind of spendy, but they're not too expensive, especially if you take them in small units. And they're just gonna have to hit them with their magic missile spells, because they are just that amazing. Terrorgeist are finally in the book, and Zombie Dragon has its own entry. It talks about the different kinds of mounts. A model with skeletal ski steeds with the ethereal. Wait, does that mean the... Oh, it's pulled by nightmares, not skeletal steeds. Okay. Say. Yeah. There's the Coven Thrones Merge Engines, the new model. Smaller rules, which seems to be an awful lot of them. Into special characters. Unfortunately, special characters really aren't allowed around here in the local area. So I don't really pay attention to special characters much at all. Never have, because just the meta, so quote unquote, around here is no special characters at all. Here's the lore of vampires. It hasn't changed too much. Invocation of Heck is the signature spell and affects all units within a certain range. Gets their D6. Oh yeah, all undead units within 6 inches gain a number of wounds equal to D6 plus the caster's wizard's level in wounds. So it's D6 plus caster level. Other troop types targeted gain 1 plus the caster's wizard level in wounds. And only 1 wound with Vampiric, Ethereal, or large target. And that's the base is 12-inch for a 6+, or 18-inch for an 18+. So that's how the Invocation to Heck works now. And the Curse of the lore attributes, just like the Ogre one, that if you get a successfully cast a spell, you get to regain a wound. Van Hels is changed a little bit. Basically, it's the same thing. They reduced the casting cost. Actually, it was 8, I think. Now it's dropped down to 6. And they got rid of the Always Strikes First. But that's really the only change. And of course, they boosted it where you can affect all units within 12 inches. That's the improved one. So you still get the rerolls to hit in close combat, but you don't get the Always Strikes First anymore. And Hellish Vigor was a new spell, which you get to reroll wounds, which for the low strength, some of the low strength guys, that'll be really nice. Got a magic missile, good old Raise Dead. Except it does a lot more. Instead of D6 plus 3, it now does 2D6 plus 3. And if you the upgraded level, instead of zombies, you can actually raise skeleton warriors with the raised dead. Curse of Years is pretty much the same, and Winds of Death is now a magic vortex. And it's completely different. It's a magic vortex with a template, and it does D6 strength 3 hits for each rank of models in the unit, with no armor saves allowed. And it moves with the artillery dice. So you can bump it up to strength 4 with the big blast for 25. Vampiric powers. The Master of Black Arcs, that's the one that allows you to reroll one of the Moons of Magic dice, which is 75 points. So that's really good, but it's also really expensive. Dread Knight gives you a +2 weapon skill, and you must always challenge. You can give them always strikes first, cause other people to lose leadership, terror. This one's Fear Incarnate is pretty cool. Fear test must be re-rolled. Red Fury is pretty much the same. Some creatures of the night, all the old abilities that for different units would allow you to increase the units of size. They just rolled it into one summon creatures of the night for 10 points. Can use Invocation of Neck to increase dire wolves, bat swarms, and fell bats beyond their starting size. So that's kind of nice. Magic items. See, the black parap is the same. Screen banner is kind of nice. It's a banner that your opponent has to take their fear test on 3d6 and discard the lowest. A curse book just casts a spell. Rod of Flaming Death is pretty much the same. Banner Borrow is the same. Night Shroud's close. It's +1 armor, and you lose all strength bonuses conferred from normal magical weapons and have always strike last when you fight someone with a Night Shroud. The new big magic item is called Scabscrath, which is a magic weapon that gives the bearer Devastating Charge and Frenzy, and all close combat attacks are made flaming attacks. In addition, the bearer of Scabscrath gains a Death Shriek special rule, which is the same shriek that the Terrorgeist has, which to me is really freaking awesome. Because the Terrorgeist's shriek is really badass. Death Shriek is a special attack that can be used in a single unit again in the shooting phase, even if the Terrorgeist is marched, charged, or engaged in close combat. This attack is a range of 8 inches and needs line of sight. To resolve a Death Shriek, roll 2d6 and add the number of wounds the Terrorgeist has left. So in this case it would be the vampire. For each point by which the result exceeds the unit's leadership, the target unit suffers 1 wound with no armor saves allowed. So you can use that in combat, in the shooting phase, with this magic weapon. So that can really, really whittle down some units really quick. So I think it's a really good magic item. And in my introductory list, I actually have it. Some nice artwork. Let's see here. And the actual army list. There's some things I noticed. First of all, the Vampire Lord has gotten really, really expensive, and he starts out as a level 1 wizard. So the Vampire Lord's not going to be your caster. The Vampire Lord's going to be a close combat guy. Your caster is going to be the Master Necromancer, who starts a lot cheaper and starts as a level 3. So when I built the list, that's exactly what I did. Heroes, of course, you got the Karn Wraith and Tomb Banshee and Heroes, and they are also still a rare unit in addition to being heroes. So you can run them either or. And you can take more than just the Lore of Vampires. You can take the Lore of Death, Lore of Shadows on Lords, and Necromancers can take the Lore of Death too, instead of the Lore of instead of just the Vampires. White King's the same, a little more expensive. Core units. This has really changed You got zombies, warriors, zombies, skeletons, crypt ghouls, and direwolves, and those are your core units. Which to me I think is a little more limiting. I wish I would have left the bat swarms in core. There's been a lot of unit swapping depending on where it goes. Special units is probably the biggest change. Of course, Corpse Scouts moved from core to special, as have the bat swarms. We also have the Grave Guard, which dropped in price. Black Knights have dropped in price. The new Crypt Horrors and Vorgeist, the new Hex Race. Spirit Hosts have dropped in price a lot. And of course, with the Spirit Hosts, they're no longer rare. They're special, and they're unit size 1 to 10 instead of 3+. Instead of 3 to 10 or whatever it was before. So those are kind of nice. You only have to take one base of them. Rare units haven't really changed too much. They added the Terrorgeist and the new Mortis engine. Because the Coven Throne is a mount for a character, while the Mortis engine is a rare choice. Blood Knights have dropped in price a little bit. Black Coach has dropped in price a little bit. The Terrorgeist, I think, is incredibly well priced for what it is. Actually, I think it's incredibly cheap for what it does. So yeah, that's my overview of the Vampire Accounts book. It's going to be not exactly what I was hoping for. I was hoping for more. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I think it's the price in Skeleton Warriors have dropped enough. Oh, and the prices of the Crypt Ghouls have gone up a little bit because they were probably underpriced. But overall, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve on here, trying to figure out exactly what this book is going to be best at. It's still, of course, primarily a close combat army. There's very little shooting. Only the Terrorgeist attack and the Tomb Banshee attack are the only thing that you get to do in the shooting phase. I was hoping to get maybe a Skull Catapult back or something along those lines, but no such luck. So that's my overview, quick overview, well, it wasn't that quick, of the new Vampire Accounts book. I, of course, also picked up the spell cards. I'm going to be picking up probably 2 boxes of the new Monstrous Infantry, maybe more, at least 2 boxes of X-Race, and probably pick up a Terrorgeist too, because I don't have one of those. So, I'm not going to build them or do anything with them anytime soon, but I'm going to get them while I can. So, that's it guys, talk to you later.